Hello, YouTube family. Welcome back to my channel. Again, this is actually part 3 of my hair story. I just realized that I left a huge chunk of my story out, and I really wanted to get that to you because I feel like that was a really, really important part of my story. I brought it inside because, the bugs started coming out, and, I'm not down with that. So, anyways, I am going to pick up off of where I finished, graduated school, and all that kind of stuff. So, important thing to note is that when I was in school during this time, I wore my hair relaxed. And I wish to God that I have photos and stuff like that. And maybe at a later date, I'll try to see if I can post a few photos for you to show when I wore my hair relaxed and all that other kind of stuff. So, all the way through school up to this point, I always, just wore a relaxer at this time. At the end, I started to think about, once I started seeing the locks is the first time I started to think about going natural with my hair. So there was time, so I got to a point where this is how I would get myself used to seeing my natural hair. So what I would do is throughout the whole entire summer and stuff like that, spring and summer, I would wear my hair relaxed. And then when it came to fall and the winter time, because I didn't want to have to do it, I would braid my hair up. So I would just wear my hair braided for 3 months. And then, and so between the 3 months, I would probably do my hair maybe like about 2 or 3 times between that winter time. So I would do that. But as I was doing that, and by the way, I want to also tell you braid wearers out there, if you're wearing braids, please don't leave your braids in for more than a month, or a month and no more than 5 weeks. Because if you leave your braids in for more than 5 weeks, what'll end up happening is at where you started your braid at right there, it'll get a lot of caked up stuff right there, and then you'll be all happy that you done got all this new growth that you have, and then you'll find out when you're taking out your hand and you got that little hard damn knot right there where you're trying to pull, and you get frustrated because that knot won't go loose, and then you be done tore your hair right on out, and tore most of it out, and then it defeats the purpose that you sat there and grew out your hair like that and then had to lose it because you left it in too long. If you leave your braids in for past 2 months, like a week, I would say past 6 weeks on, you're going to lose hair. So if you could, ideally, I would tell people don't wear braids no more than a month. Now I know people pay a lot of for braids when you're doing all these micro braids and all these fancy braids in this neck. You feel like you want to get your money's worth. But I'm here to tell you from someone that have done braids for years and years and years. I'm telling you right now, it's not good to leave them in for past a month, because at that time, if you want to be able to save the hair, the new growth that you got, and keep it moving, take them joints out by no later than that 5th week. That's just a tip. That's up to you if you want to follow it. Anyway, so continuing on. So as I would be taking my hair out and stuff like that, I started seeing my new growth and started being like, wow, I like how that was. I like how that looks. Oh, that don't look bad. I would, kind of pull my hair back and look at it like to see like how the afro would look or whatever. And it actually didn't look bad. And at the same time, but at that particular time, I didn't have the confidence to go there, because at that time you didn't have a lot of people going natural and stuff like that. You had a few people, but the people that you did see going natural, they were older people like my mom. My mom was one of them. My mother was a type of person. I think I convinced my mother one time in her life to put a relaxer in her hair, because that was like my ignorance being like, why you never relax your hair? Why? I couldn't understand why she never did it. But regardless of what, my mother just never relaxed her hair. She always wore an afro. That was her thing. And even after the relaxer, she didn't even like it. She was like, get this out my hair. And I was trying to tell her, no, you can't reverse. She said, oh, yes, you can. You got to get this out my hair. So eventually I had to cut it out of my mother's hair, and she was a happy camper again with her natural hair. So she was like the exception. She really was the exception to the rule. But anyways, so I started, to get a little bit more used to it. So I kept doing that routine, relaxing my hair, and then in the winter time, braiding it up. But what I started finding too, though, is that as time was going on and on, my hair started thinning because of those relaxers. I started noticing back in the day, that the top of my hair started getting thin, because my hair used to be really thick. That's why I got to definitely really find a picture to show y'all how thick my hair was. Real thick. I used to have super thick hair when I was younger, and it was like, as I got older, I really truly believe, I don't know if the relaxers had obviously they had to have had a toll on my hair, because I started off with really thick hair. But I think just over the years of the relaxers and the relaxers, that it just took a toll, and my hair just started, getting finer and finer over the years. So that's what really prompted me to start really going hard about thinking about going natural. Then, like I started seeing all the locks and all the stuff, and then when I would see the sister locks here and there, and all that kind of stuff, that's what started going in my mind. But then at the same time, it was more of, and this is one thing that I recognize, guys, and I know that a lot of us sisters that have gone and did the big chop and all that kind of stuff, it's a mental thing. It's up here. You have to change. It's like a brainwashing that we have to go through. And to be honest with you, I actually really would say that we really got messed up in terms of accepting our natural hair, because I feel like from young, as black people, we're already always told that our hair isn't good enough. It's not. It has to be fixed. It's not good enough as it is. So unless you grew up in a household that people encourage that on you, I know some lucky kids had that thing where they were taught that their hair was beautiful, but a lot of us didn't get taught that our hair was beautiful. It was always like, you gotta straighten it, you gotta tame it, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. Now it looks cute, now it's done. So I'm fighting with that. Okay, how am I gonna be accepted? Will men still like me the same? Oh my God, how are they gonna take this at work? Oh my God, like they're so used to me relaxing, wearing wigs. I got to the point where, busting the, when the stylish wigs came out. So, I'm wearing that, this and that. You end up dealing with a whole lot of stuff. So it got to a point where I finally, got to a point where I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do those locks, because I had definitely had it still in the back of my mind that I was gonna get those locks. But I said to myself, before I do that, because I knew getting locks was gonna be a huge step in my life to get locks. So I was like, okay, before I do that, I want to experience myself authentically, like just in my whole natural form, with my hair loose, natural. I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna get the big chop, and I'm gonna I'm just gonna go ahead, do that, and I'm gonna wear that for some years before I, look into getting in this style. So it ended up working out anyways, because I hadn't seen anyone for years after that. So I had finally got up the courage. Then, as everybody knows, the big chop started going around. Nikki's, Curly Nikki came online. If anybody remember Curly Nikki. So I was like, got on her forum with the whole explosion of natural hair, so all these different things started busting out, and people started, wearing their natural hair, doing this and that. So that actually was a really great time for me to go ahead and have the courage to do it. So I eventually went. I said the story about how my boyfriend at the time went with me, all that other kind of stuff. And guys, I wore my hair natural. It was like, but it definitely was not easy. It took some, because it's all about clearing that trash out of your mind. You have to really throw away what we learned about our hair and our beauty standards and all of that, in order for you to have the confidence. Because once you do that, you got to wear that with confidence. You definitely truly have to wear your natural hair with confidence, so that people see if you're confident, then they're gonna believe in it. If you believe it, people know how you feel just by how you act. So a whole nother step was going to work with it. I was like really like nervous about going to work with it, and there was just a whole bunch of different reactions from that when I first went. And the funniest part about it was, when I cut my hair, it might have been this short, but it actually wasn't bad because because a lot of us really don't even know the texture of our hair. So when I realized that, my hair actually was more manageable, or you know what? Like I said, nope, I'm not even gonna say I'm scratching that. I don't want to say manageable because, like I said, I don't even want to get no thing about comparing people's da 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 whatever. I'll just say that it was received well. Like people, I actually got like so many compliments on my hair being short, and it shocked and surprised me because I was just like, wow, like because I had kind of like a funny feeling about it being short, but it actually didn't I didn't have a bad experience at all. Like, you had a few people that was like so used to seeing me in a relaxer or wigs or different things that fit, that just wasn't understanding natural hair at the time. So I had a few of them, but it was way more people that liked it that didn't like it. So I really didn't like feed too much into that. So that part of it was cool, you know what I'm saying? But it did start to get like and I'll tell you too, right? What was different though is the way black guys treated me. Like, you're gonna get, just know, and it's I don't think it's gonna be as dramatic now because so many people now are out here on this natural game that it's not even like dramatic at all the way it was back then when people first started coming out. So like I said, it was kind of like this type of thing where you were going to get good responses or you were going to get bad reactions. You were going to get good or bad reactions. So you definitely was worried about what reactions you were going to get. Like, you know what I mean? So, but what I noticed with me was, the black guys would be like, I would get a whole bunch of, hey, sister, how you doing today, queen? They would actually open doors for me. Like, it was like, it tripped me out because it was more, I ended up getting more respect from black men. That's what I found. Like, my experience was I ended up getting more respect when I went natural. And even like a white guy one time, right, had came into my office, and he had needed my ID or something to go like out to a door or whatever. So when he was coming back in, I just kind of like was holding my hand out to get my ID back, and then he's like coming over to me, getting ready to try to put the ID like around my neck, and I was like, oh no, what are you doing? He was like, oh no, I just wanted to crown you, like you're just. It was like, I was like, he was like, no, it's like you look like an African queen. Like, I was just like, Lord have mercy, man, if you'll just give me my ID. So you would get just a variety of reactions. My bosses, another thing, I had worked for a boss and he was like a real like a-hole. And no matter what I wore, when I wore relaxed hair, wigs, or if I would put extension braids and this and that, but when I would wear my natural hair, he would always compliment me like, oh, what is that you got in your hair? And it's so crazy because a lot of black women at the time wasn't even wearing their hair so much that they didn't even know what our real hair looked like. So it was like, I was like, this is my regular hair. This is my natural hair. And he was like, oh, wow, you remind me of Roberta Flack and all this other kind of stuff. And he was like, I don't know what you did, but you need to keep that. That's a winner. And I was like, what? So I was like, yeah, I said, I'm going to do. So as I'm still getting used to it more and more, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this style. I'm going to see what they say this time with this style. I was like, this is a bomb style right here. No matter, nothing. Every time I went back to my regular hair, I got compliment. So I was like, dang, like, so no matter what happened, whenever I would get compliments and all that kind of stuff, but whenever it came to me wearing my natural hair, I would get the most compliments. So I said, wow, I said, dang. And and that made me think too, like, damn, here we are, have been taught so long to covet everybody else's hair and to think this and think that, but here they are, appreciating our hair. Like, I remember going to the dermatologist at the time, and the lady used to look forward to my appointments. And this was when I had no, so I'm not gonna go that because that's when I ended up first getting my Sisterlocks. But so anyway, so what ended up happening was, you know, I finally got over at work wearing my I finally got over the fact of wearing my hair natural at work, and that was a journey because I definitely struggled within. It was a lot. It took me a lot of getting used to just seeing me and accepting my beauty for what it was. Like it was like meeting me for the first time, like just in my naturalness, 100% naturalness, and it really wasn't easy. I had to learn to look at it and see the beauty in it. Even though so many other people was, I had to actually learn it myself. So it was really a time of a reflection, accepting, embracing, and undoing the damage that was taught to us. It really actually was a therapeutic process, and that lasted for about a good 10 years. Like, so I just wore my hair out natural for like 10 years, and it was more towards the end of that 10 years that I really had just started accepting my hair, and it was just like it was the most liberating thing. Oh my goodness, like I just couldn't believe how liberating that was to finally just accept my hair every day and realize that nobody really cares. Like it's like, and I realized that guys, like as long as you, it's like wearing your natural hair is like any goddamn thing is else. I don't care if you're wearing a wig, braids, your natural hair, whatever you're doing, as long as it looks good, as long as you do your hair and it looks good, guys. So a lot of times women will think they know the answers about what guys want, but I found out that they really don't. I got four brothers, and I got that was just as judgmental as anybody else. And when I went around them, they stood and they looked. They like, oh wow, you went to the Nubian style, or they would say different things, but they would be like, wow, Faye, that looks good. And I was like, really? They were like, yeah, like they were like, and guys, the guys will tell you they don't care what you wear as long as it looks good on you. If they look at you and they like what they see, then that's what it is. Whether you natural, relaxed, this and that. And that is something that I think a lot of us need to get in our heads and stop feeding into you. You'll be surprised like how many men will tell you they like your natural hair. Like I can't even tell you how it was like a game changer. Like it just was not what I thought it was gonna be. It was surprisingly very nice. Like like I said, with the exception of a few little knuckleheads or whatever, but that definitely didn't have nothing compared to the positive responses that I had gotten and all that other kind of stuff. So, I definitely wanted to be able to experience my hair out, and I wanted to be able to do any and everything that I felt like I wanted to do in its natural state before I decided to lock it up, because that was going to be a very permanent thing. I knew that once I had got these sister locks that I was going to be wearing them for quite a while, before I decided, up until the point where I decide if I don't want to have them anymore or not. But I knew that it was going to be permanent for at least a good 5 years, at least. I knew that. So I wanted to be able to experience everything. So I feel like I have transitioned pretty much. I've done pretty much everything in my head that you can think of. The only thing that I did not experiment with is a carefree curl. That was the only thing that I didn't do. Like that's the one style for whatever reason I just never tried. But pretty much anything else, weaves, colors, cuts. I used to do the short little Halle Berry cuts. I used to wear those. My hair used to roller sets. Anything you could think of. I was surprised I got hair. That's probably why my hair did back then, because I did so much to my hair. But now this is my time to try to recover that. And that's another thing too, with me, guys. Like I said, I'm on this journey with this 14-day raw vegan journey, and I'm going to actually see if that actually helps with the alopecia as well, because I do know it has a lot to do with what you're putting in your body. So that is another thing I'll report on with you guys to let you know if there was a difference. I noticed that it actually is making a difference even in day 5, because I suffer with some eczema. I noticed that it has gotten worse down here in this heat down here in the south. But because I have been doing a lot of water, doing the fruits and the vegetables and things like that, I noticed that it is clearing up my skin pretty good with this eczema, and I'm loving that. I noticed that my skin is getting really, really clear. It's getting glowy, you know, and stuff like that. My stomach's not hurting. I haven't had like not one type of stomach ache or anything like that. I'm sleeping a whole lot better because before I wasn't sleeping that well. I had insomnia a lot, but since I've changed my diet too, I've been really sleeping pretty good too, guys. So, you know, just a little tidbit there, just to let you know. Just even changing up a little bit, guys, you'll be surprised with, you know, the wonders of benefits that you can have on it. So, but anyways, that's that, guys. That was a very big important part of my journey too, to let you guys know I didn't just jump from a relaxer into the locks, although you can put the locks in if you have a relaxer, but that wasn't what I did. Actually, you know, I did take that 10-year span to experience my natural loose hair and to just work with myself. It was more of a you know, just, you know, something that I feel like needed to be done before you know, I moved on to locks. So it's just been, you know, a spiritual growing time from then on, and I'm definitely not turning back. I'll always be natural from this point on. Whenever, if I ever get to the point where I don't want to wear sister locks anymore, I'll deal with that at that point. I don't know if I'll feel like that or not or whatever, but if I should feel like that, then that'll be that, and then I'll go on to the next thing what I'll do. But until now, I mean, until that time's coming, and in the meantime, I'm still enjoying my sister locks. I'm gonna still, you know, embrace them and try to keep them as healthy as possible. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you if you stayed to the end of this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and share this video if it can help anybody, encourage anybody, or anything like that. As always, sharing is caring, and love and light.